Thank you so much. Let me share my screen and then I'll take it from there.
Yeah, sure.
Just bear with me one sec. And here we go. Just before I start, can I just double check if we are recording this session or is this session going to be recording or not? Oh, it started now. All right. Welcome, everyone. And thank you so much for making the time today. Really lovely to see all of your faces and names on the screen. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge the land that I come from today is the land of the Ghana people. And I pay my respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. And I also like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands from which everyone is joining us today. As Nina said, my name is John Al-Khatib, and these two QR codes are going to take you straight away to my two favorite social media accounts, LinkedIn and Instagram. So please don't hesitate to drop me a connection request. I would love to connect with all of you today. This is my personal website. So if you want to have another look at some of the things that I do and I am interested in, please give it a visit. And if you have any question or inquiry after the session today, please feel free to click me an email on the email base you want to see. So, a little bit about me. Nina mentioned a few things about me, so I'm gonna introduce myself very quickly for the record. For those who I have met, you probably know most of this, and I can see a lot of new faces today, so that's exciting. So, my name is John Khatib, and I've been in the project management space for more than 20 years now. Started my career as a scheduler, as a project scheduler, back in 2004, 2005, straight after the university. And I just straight away fell in love with project management. I think this domain is a fascinating domain. And we are, the people interested in project management, we are very lucky to have this passion for managing projects. I'm currently doing a PhD in complex project governance. So back in my time, when I was in my 20s, the trend was to finish your master's or finish your bachelor, go get industry experience, and then come back to academia. And I'm doing my PhD in a very exciting domain, which is complex project management. Before this, I did two masters. I completed two masters, one in applied project management at the University of Adelaide, and another one in Master of Science in strategic planning. And I've finished my Bachelor of Electrical Engineering back in the time in 2004. From PMI, I have five credentials, professional credentials from PMI, starting with my PMP back in 2009 and all the way through 2022, I think was my last certification from PMI. I also have a long list of credentials and certifications that might be, so if you're interested in any of them, to know more about them, please let me know. I'm also an active member of many organizations in Australia and internationally, including the Australian Institute of Company Directors, the International Centre for Complex Project Management, PMI, of course, the Project Management Institute, and other organizations in the United States. My services and portfolio consist of four main domains, which you see on the screen now. Training and education, which I'm very invested in that space. Consultancy and advisory, whether as a project management consultant directly or on a board of directors or just a casual engagement in any exciting project. Coaching and mentoring, and as Nina said, I'm very passionate about coaching and mentoring young professionals. I think I did a lot of mistakes in my professional career that I don't like to see anyone doing those mistakes or going through those pathways. And this is where my coaching and mentoring passion comes from. And today I want to share as much as I can just to help you at least avoid some of the mistakes that I did in my time. And finally, research and thought leadership through the different engagement with the University of Adelaide and other universities. So please, if you are on LinkedIn or any other social media platform, please don't hesitate to connect. I would love to connect. So what's the agenda for today? So what I have in my mind today is basically 5 key points. I want to start with my guiding principles. And I'm very big in terms of guiding principles and values and guidelines. I think the sooner you realize the person who you are and your principles and what's important to you and what is something that you can't negotiate with, you understand, you start to deliver value in your life. And my guiding principles are based on my personal experience after 12, 13 years on this beautiful land, trying to navigate a lot of uncertainties and a lot of employment challenges as well. I'll start then with the big picture. And I'm very big in terms of, I'm very excited about promoting strategic thinking. From my perspective, if you want to secure a clear pathway or a clear career in Australia, you need to think strategically. And this is where I come from today. So we're going to start with the big picture, what's going on the global scale when it comes to project management. And then we're going to dive into the Australian context. Specifically, we're going to look at the Australian budget and see where the money is. Where are the projects are? Where are the big investments are? Who are the big employers in the space? And what should you target? How should you tailor your strategy based on these numbers and figures? And then we're going to look at career pathways. So we're going to look at multiple career entry or project management entry points across many levels. I know many of you don't have an experience in project management, just looking at the questions that we received before the webinar. Before this session, but also we're going to touch base on those who have experience in project management and they're facing challenges in fitting in some of those ambiguous roles in project management. And then before our final step, where there is a Q&A session, we're going to talk about certifications pathway. We're going to highlight some of the key certifications that might boost your career or your employment search or your chances of securing a job in this beautiful land. So let's kickstart and start straight away with the guiding principles. And again, for those who just joined us, my guiding principles are the one that you see on the screen. Those are shaped by my personal experience. I've never navigated away from those principles, and I understand the value of those principles and the impact that those principles have generated or created on my career. You should have, from my perspective, you should have your own principles, whether you align with those principles or different principles. I think this is part of your strategic thinking when it comes to employment. My first and most important guiding principle was live locally, think globally. So having arrived in Adelaide 13 years ago, Adelaide was even smaller than it is now, obviously. And I came from a global background. I came from a global application of global standards, PMI, decorated with many credentials from PMI. I never navigated away from that global focus. My practices are always towards best practices. I live locally, but I'm always I always think globally, which means I follow the trends, I follow best practices, I look at what big organizations and big companies and big people in project management are implementing, because eventually everyone will follow. So for me, I live locally, but I always think globally. So from my perspective, don't let the local space dictate the way you think. Always focus on the big picture. My second guiding principle, which might help you, is settle only for your own story. And being from an international background, I think it's very easy to navigate away, honestly speaking, to navigate away from your career when you arrive to a new country. I refuse that completely. I come from an experience and a background and a conscience that says, if you want to work as a project manager, you should do everything in your power to be a project manager. It doesn't matter if you work in retail now, or you work in a different space, or you work in any sort of temporary job, that's fine. You're thinking strategically and you are working operationally to achieve that strategic objective. And while you're doing all of this, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, and you're going to navigate away from your goal sometimes. People will judge you. People won't judge you. Some of them will help you. Others will not. It's fine. The lesson is yours. The story is yours. So take all this learning experience with you, because one day you're going to achieve success and you're going to penetrate whatever barrier you're facing. So those are my guiding principles. I like to share my guiding principles before I start any technical presentation when it comes to employment. And again, I've probably seen it all. So any challenge you're going to face, you're facing now, or you're going to face in the future, I've seen it all. Trust me. So let's start with the big picture. I'm very conscious of the time, so I'm going to try to be as quick as I can because I want to answer as many questions as possible. Let's start with the big picture. The big picture can be looked at from different perspectives. One of them is PMI, the Project Management Institute. The Project Management Institute issues a report called the Pulse of the Profession, and that report is generated every 2 years or 3 years. The latest report now is the Pulse of the Profession 2025, and it has a very interesting findings and data and information about project management as a domain. The most important one is the business acumen, the value of business acumen in project management, in today's project management. So if you go back 20 years ago or 25 years ago, by the time when I was a graduate project manager or an engineer, I think business acumen wasn't a big deal. It was important, but it wasn't that important as the technical skills that you bring to the field. Today, the equation has changed completely. Today, what we look at in project managers, we look at business acumen, we look at negotiation skills, we look at stakeholder engagement, we look at strategic thinking, we look at finance, robust understanding in finance and numbers. We look at value management. Does this person understand what value, what's the created value out of this project? And this report demonstrates the need for people with professionals, project professionals with business acumen. The report says that project professionals who exhibit high business acumen outperform their peers across various industries. And it also, the report highlights a shift in project success or project success metrics. So I'm far away from that island triangle, which talks about scope and cost and schedule, to more of stakeholder satisfaction, to customer acceptance, value creation, market share, as I mentioned, among the many other things that we talk about when we talk about project success. So that's a clear emphasis on the value of business acumen when it comes to the skills that we need in project managers. And when it comes to project performance, as a result of this boost to business acumen, projects led by professionals with high business acumen have lower failure rate compared to those led with lower business acumen. The evidence is clear. If you are a project manager with a business acumen skills, you are better suited for today's project management market. So what are the recommendations for young project managers or project enthusiasts or graduates who want to penetrate into the project management space? Enhance business acumen skills to navigate the complexities of modern project management environments. Remember something, all of this shift in project success, project metrics, and the skills that we require in project managers is because of complexity, because of the increased complexity in the projects that we're dealing with. And if you attended any of my lectures at the University of Adelaide, you understand that I explained this very thoroughly about the impact of complexity on the skills that we need to acquire in today's project management. So specifically, we're talking about finance, value management, stakeholder engagement, and strategic alignment. So if you look at this radar map, and this radar map is taken from the report from the Pulse of the Profession, this radar map highlights that employers look at good stakeholder engagement and strong communication as their top priority skills when they hire project managers, compared to 36% for industry knowledge and 31% technical skills. This is a huge shift in employment in project management. So if you say this to someone 15 years ago or 20 years ago, that employers are actually looking for communication and stakeholder engagement, not for industry knowledge, not for that special technical expertise, people won't believe you. Today, it's evident. We need people who have business acumen skills, who can negotiate, who can talk to each other, who can work together, who can establish team, who can resolve conflict, who can speak the business language. So, and this radar map is an example, a heavy example about it. So this is what's happened globally. So, but what is happening in the Australian context? Now, the best way to understand what's going on in the Australian context is to look at where the money is going. That's it. Throughout your journey on this beautiful land, always look for where the money is being invested. Because Once you realize where the investments, the big investments are, you understand where the employment trends are. So what I did is I looked at the budget, the government, but federal government budget for 2025, 2026, and I brought to you some of the exciting or interesting figure, which I'm going to highlight in a second. So number one, I've mapped the different industries for you and highlighted where the billions are being invested. And these numbers are extremely important because those numbers will shift, will actually determine where the employments will be. Starting from energy and industry, I'm looking at $8 billion for renewable energies and 1.5 for Made in Australia. That's the Australia Innovation Fund. So that's a huge boost to made in Australia. So that's industrial aspect of the Australian economy. 1.3 million for social and equality initiatives, which means talking about community service, talking about health, talking about housing, talking about aged care, talking about social services. $1.3 billion for this, including One Nation, First Nation outcomes, including disability support and including aged care facilities. We're talking about $330 billion over the next 8 years between 2033 to 2034 in an integrated investment program to transform the Australian Defence Force. Now, I know some of you are yet to be an Australian citizen, so you can't target defence projects or opportunities, but that doesn't mean that within the next 4 or 5 years, you're not going to be able to do this. So if you are keen on working in defence, which is one of the biggest, largest employment pool in Australia, my advice to you is to start planning from now, because the biggest investment over the next 10 years is going to happen in defense. $330 billion out until 2023 and 2024 for integrated investment programs to transform the ADF. There are other programs that I haven't mentioned in this report. Health is another important aspect, 1.8 billion to boost public hospitals only. So when you talk about boosting public hospitals, you're talking about projects, because we all know, because you're here, you know that projects are all about change and all about improvement and all about delivering value. So 1.8 billion to boost public hospital is a significant amount of investments. When we talk about housing and construction, we're talking about $33 billion in infrastructure and housing plan. Actually, there are $4.5 billion to state and territories, local governments, the unblock infrastructure backlogs only. So it's just to facilitate the process of building more roads or building more bridges or building more facilities. So that's an enormous investment. Also with the infrastructure, so $17.1 billion in infrastructure projects. So the best time to work in infrastructure or in the construction industry is now. When it comes to Australian context, the skills in the Australian context, we're talking about system thinking, stakeholder governance, risk management, and sustainability. Those are the top priority skills that you want to target before as part of your strategy. Again, think strategically. Always try to think strategically when it comes to employment. The sectors in demand are defense and health and housing, construction, energy transition, digital, and telecom. So your best chances are in these domains. Another important thing I want to bring to your attention today is about the digital transformation projects, which is a whole different space by itself. So if you are interested in working in digital transformation, there is no better time to think about being employed in that space than now. So on the slide, you will see the distribution of the 100 top most complex digital transformation projects in Australia. So again, the QR code that I mentioned here in the slide can take you straight away to the report if you want to have a more detailed look. So this slide will tell you where the Australian government's most complex and strategically significant digital projects are allocated. And you can see that resource and environment, safety and Australian healthcare and aged care have the maximum investments, almost 50% of that as investments. When you look at agriculture, when you look at education is not getting that much, social services are not getting that much, and industry, infrastructure, and business are not getting that much. Only from a digital transformation perspective, not from other aspect. Remember something, digital transformation is a space by itself. It's a universe by itself. So it crosses all the boundaries of the industries, and it crosses all the norms that we know about. So please give it a go. Over 50% of investment related to these three sectors, talking about resources, renewable energies, infrastructure, minerals, safety for Australians, talking about defense, and healthcare and aged care. So that's aspect of social services, which is extremely, extremely important. The other thing that I want to highlight in terms of shaping your strategy that might help you shape the strategies, your strategy, are three important lenses. Number one, the organizational lens. The industry lens comes in number two, and the competency lens, which I think is one of the most important ones for young professionals or for entry-level project managers, competency lens. So let's start with the organizational lens. What do I mean by organizational lens? What does that mean? I mean, like, despite all the employment trends and knowledge and norms that you know, please visit the organization and assess the organization for the way they create project management jobs or vacancies, and the way they're promoted, and the way they recruit for it. There are so many organizations in Australia that structure their project delivery specifically relevant to their culture and their methodologies. So the typical roles that you look at online, or you look for on LinkedIn, don't necessarily lead you to the best option within that organization. That depends on the project management maturity. Do they have a project management office or not? Do they have project support officers? What's the role of consultants when they work with? Many of these organizations hire consultants to deliver their projects. So you might want to go for the consultant rather than going to the organization itself. The role of consultant and contractors is extremely important. When it comes to industry sector lens, this is another important aspect. And a typical example is when it comes to community and health. So when it comes to community service and health, and I know some of you are interested in community service and health, you don't find the typical project roles like project support or project officer or project coordinator. You might find different roles within that space that actually do require the person to be a project manager or a project coordinator or project support. So always that will lead me to third point, which is competency lens. So always when you scan for your employment, for the opportunities, scan for the required skills or competencies. Look for foundational, like communication, organization, teamwork, and look for applied skills like risk management, scheduling, business analysis, requirement documentation, requirement gathering, etc. This is, I think, combined together, they will establish a good recruitment or employment strategy for you. And again, if you take me back 13 years from now, this is what I would do straight away, because that would have saved me a lot of time. So when it comes to career pathways, and I know this might be confusing for some people because of the new context that you're dealing with in Australia. So I've put together this slide that might help you in navigating where should I get in, what is the best point. And I'm assuming from the questions that I received, I'm assuming most of you are within the first two category, which is entry, route, or early career. So some of you have no experience in project management, and this is when point number one is most suitable for you. So look for graduate programs, look for roles like a scheduler, estimator, analyst, junior consultant, project support officer, project coordinator. Look for roles that start from the beginning and supplement that work, your application, with other skills that you've done in other jobs and other roles. If you are someone with a project management experience, specifically with international project management experience, you don't have to go to point one. There is a lot of industries now, and you can see it from the amount of investments that I've highlighted. how much need out there is for project managers. If you are a an early career project manager, please look for project support coordinators, junior project managers, consultants, any role that can get you one step above that entry level. Because from my perspective, I think if you have an experience overseas, or if you bring any experience from overseas, you need to be rewarded for that experience, and it's all about knocking the right door. And of course, when it comes to mid-career, this is when project and program managers will and project management consultants will be applying, and finally senior portfolio and PMO directors. What you can see as well from this roadmap is the progression when it comes the career progression when it comes to project management. So that this career progression was not available back in the time. So this is very important. Project management now is no longer limited to you being a project or a program or even a director. So there is a whole established career pathway ready for you. And finally, I want to talk about the certifications just quickly. I know you will have access to the slides, but just quickly, because that will supplement and support your application when it comes to entry and early career level or project management level. Specifically for the entry level, I would definitely recommend the CAPM certification as the go-to certification when it comes to entry-level project management. The CAPM is issued by PMI, and in its new version, it's a very solid certification for those with an entry level in project management and in the domain of project management. The CAPM will give you a nice, decent introduction to project management from a practical point of view, built by industry professionals, and it's globally recognized across the world. So when it comes to entry level, I will definitely recommend the CAPM. I'm a little bit biased when it comes to certification because I come from a PMI perspective. But if you want to go for other certifications like Prince2 or anything from the Australian Institute of Project Management, please feel free. There is a market for everything. Trust me, there is a need for everything and there is a market for everything. It's not about the certification itself only. It's about how you sell that certification. Also, if you are on that early career stage, please consider the CAPM, or if you're working in a software domain or an application development domain, consider the Agile practitioner or any Scrum or any sort of Agile certification that will support you as long as you meet the eligibility requirements or the education requirements as well. And while you progress through your career, there are multiple options for you when it comes to certification. I'm very supportive of certifications when it comes to employment. I think it's a huge boost for your application and it will set you aside from other applicants. It also can be a double-edged sword. So just be careful not to stack certification for the purpose of certifications. Be very strategic in your certification and your pursuit for certification. Choose wisely. It's an investment that you don't want to let go. You want to maintain that investment. You want to build a new investment based on it, and you want to think about it again strategically from that perspective. And again, you're going to have access to the slides, so you don't have to worry about making notes about of anything. That's from my end. I've marked myself on 30 minutes because I want to spare time for questions. So what I will do is I'll stop sharing, and I know we have some questions. I'll hand back over to you, Nina, just to see if we have questions, and I have a list of questions on my screens as well. So back to you, Nina.
Yeah, sure. No worries. I just want to do a quick summary of this presenting because I've been so attracted by presenting. You're like combining the sentimental feelings or sentimental instructions as well as a rational analysis to combining these two and giving the really practical suggestions for people who want to pursue their project management careers. And I believe this presenting will bring like profound impact many of the participants. And yeah, I hope you guys all
Thanks,
enjoy.
Nia.
And
Thank you so much, Nia.
yeah, no worries. So let's start our question and answer.
Now, feel free. Thank you so much, Nina. Feel free to drop your question in the chat if you have any question about what I talked about in the presentation or anything else. So I have 14, 15 questions on my screen. What I will do is I'm happy to share my screen again.
Yeah, sure.
Just
We
bear
can
with me.
start from those questions we received from the backstage.
Sure. Just bear with me one sec. All righty. So, first question. Can you please talk about the starting point after the master's to enter the project management? That highly depends on your background. So if the person who raised that question is in the audience, I would love to have an additional context. I'm assuming you've done your master's because you have some project management experience and you want to get boost your employment options maybe as part of your strategy. I think the best starting point on your master, it depends on where you come from, what's your background. As I mentioned in my slides, if you are an early career, that means you need to go and address early career positions like project managers, business analysts, coordinators, project support. Your chances if you don't have a local experience in project management, your chances to get a project manager role are very tiny. So you want to start a little bit lower than project manager. Project coordinator, support officer, senior coordinator. This is when you look for using the competency lens. Look for competency lens in those job advertisements and try to match your skills together. So Shane, I'm currently studying the CAPM. What's the threshold for professional experience if I want to just straight to the PMP? PMP is 2 years experience, 2 years of project managing projects, not necessarily as a project manager, but you have to have a role within project management as a scheduler, as a estimator, as a risk manager. It depends. So that's completely up to PMI to decide. But the quick answer is 2 years of project management experience will set you up for the PMP certification. So please don't delay it. Don't wait until you have 5 years. 2 years are enough. So back to that question, which I thought Shane is adding more context to it. So again, depends on where you come from, what's your background, and are you more suitable for the entry routes or the early career? The entry routes are all about graduate programs. Graduate programs, project officer maximum, or support officer, depends on the industry. So the next one is how to stand out, especially within the first year of your degree. This is basically, I'm assuming we're talking about university contacts, not workplace contacts or not employment contacts. So I'm going to answer it assuming that you want to stand out within your university contacts. As I say to all my students, if I don't know you, I don't know you. Make sure you know your lecturers. Make sure you introduce yourself to the lecturers. Make sure you engage with them. Make sure you attend. Make sure you participate. Make sure you express your intention. You express your thoughts. You tell them what your goals are. If you are a high distinction student, tell them I'm a high distinction student. Ask for help, engage with the lecturers. I wouldn't find anything else better than engaging with your lecturers, scoring high marks, and volunteering across the board when you are in your university. This will not only give you exposure, will give you practical experience about what to expect before you get into the workplace. So the third one, after qualifying PMP, how do you get into the industry without having the usual required work experience? As I mentioned, take one step lower. My advice is take one step lower than your project manager role. One step lower, learn and go up straight away. It will take you a year, but it would be much, much better than trying to find something for project manager role and fighting all the barriers if you don't have experience. Australian context is very big on local experience. Once you are in the system, you are in the system. You're not going to have time to search for a job because you're going to be overloaded with the job that's going to be thrown on you. So take one small step down and then move up. Use a different skills from project management, scheduling, technical experience, etc. How significant is the impact of AI in project management positions? Thank you so much for highlighting this. The answer is debatable. So there are some industries who are automating all the administrative work, everything from scheduling to cost estimation to sending reports to small notes. All this repetitive small jobs is being automated with AI. So the impact is not significant, is tiny, but the future is very interesting because now project management, when it comes to AI, is being discussed on a senior level, on a strategic level, on a governance level. Remember something, AI comes with a lot of paradoxes. Security of the data, ethics, confidentiality. It's not simply a matter of taking your data and just drop it with AI and let AI agency do the job for you. There's a lot of consideration that needs to be taken before this large-scale implementation of AI. So the scale is not too significant, so don't worry. Pathways to jobs in the Middle East, Arab countries, to somebody who architect and have 10 years of experience in project management, best network and certification in project management. Definitely PMP. Best jobs, pathways to jobs in the Middle East, recruiting agency. If you want to stay in Adelaide or South Australia or Australia in general, and you want to find a job overseas, your best option is to contact big recruiters. Salt is one of them. Is one of the biggest recruiters, and they will get you sorted if you have the right experience and qualifications. Saudi is booming. And on a scale you can't imagine. Saudi Arabia, the amount of investments that are being pumped into the market in the Middle East is unbelievably massive. So if you're thinking about relocating, there is no better time to relocate. Recruitment agencies are the best options for you. A fresh graduate in project management navigate his or her way to getting a job. I think I've answered this already. Look for graduate programs, SA Health, SA Power Network, Department of Infrastructure. Remember something, government of the federal and local government are the largest employer in Australia. It's unlike the public sector overseas. So if you're coming from overseas, you might think that the public sector is not too significant here. The public sector here is massive. It's the largest employer in the country. So think about those graduate programs, please. The other set of questions we have, the fresh graduate project management navigator. So I've answered that. Most common career path for master students after graduation, you either follow the early career pathway or the entry level pathway. Please have a look at the slides. As an architecture student, what pathways could there for project management? When it comes to architecture and design, think about those supportive roles: design, estimator, scheduler, other skills or other roles that can lead you to being an architect or an engineer or a project manager at some point. Start from those roles where career progression will take you to the project management domain. My background social work, but I've found really enjoy the project side of things and non-profit world. I'd love to make jump towards managing more complex, larger scale projects. Yep. When it comes to social work, I think community service will always need project managers. The only problem with community service and social work is that they don't call them project managers. That's the thing. You're not going to find a project manager in community service and social work outside IT. So you will find project coordinator, project support officer, program director, program manager. They'll call them anything other than project manager. So when you look at community service, it's very important, and the sector, it's very important to look from a competency lens. You might find that person under different title, but the skills are the same. And again, if you are an entry level or an early career, think about certain domains that can get you to the community service, certain roles, supportive roles. Now, if since you've done Google Project Management Certificate, and you're looking for CAPM or Prince 2, I'm assuming you have some interest in IT. When it comes to IT and community service, it's very minimal, unfortunately. So you wanna target some consultancy companies that work in the community space. Is any industry accessible to project manager? I think the figures and the numbers are also in the slide. So have a look. The short answer is all of them. Now how significant each one of them is different. I think I've answered 13. And again, 14 is the same question. So all of you, most of the questions are asking the same thing. How do I get in project management? My trick would be try a supportive role that will take you to project management straight away, not necessarily a project manager role. So that's everything on my screen. I'll look in the chat. Thank you so much for posting your questions. I had many questions directly sent to me in the chat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to repost them, put them into chat one more time. So can you talk about strategic thinking plan for newly graduate construction manager and what type of certifications are relevant to do? Let's start from the easy one, which is the CAPM. So the short answer is your CAPM, your Certified Associate in Project Management. Now, you can go for a PMP if you have some experience overseas, or if you bring some experience before graduation. That's completely fine. But CAPM would be my first recommendation. Your strategically is exactly to follow what I mentioned in the slides. You look at the industries, you examine all those industries, you look at the big employers on those industries, and then target their projects. Search for projects. Don't search for employers. Search for big projects. Once you find those projects, you'll find the people working on those projects, and then you can apply for them. Follow the money. That's strategically what my advice is. I will look 50 years on this planet, on this land, you're going to get the same answer. Follow the money, because the money will lead you to employment. Thank you for the presentation. You are welcome, Alicia. I'm currently doing MBA program, have certificate 3 in horticulture and agriculture business. Yep. Can it will be useful to start marketing project management? Absolutely. In that space, it's the same as community service. You might find other roles that will lead you to project management, not necessarily a project manager role. So use the competency lens that I mentioned. Of course, the whole world needs project managers. Everyone needs project managers. Don't get the impression that there is less need. There would be less need for project managers. We need project managers. We need people with project management skills and competencies. We need people with some project management skills and competencies because of the complexity that I'm talking about. So please follow that competency lens, and it will help you. For people with experience in product management, what is the starting point? That's a brilliant question, by the way. When it comes to product management, to answer that question, I need to know what type of product you mean, because there are so many transferable skills when it comes to certain product management, to project management, especially if you come from engineering or industry or industrial engineering or manufacturing. Manufacturing actually will love people from a product management perspective or background. So I need to understand which sort of product you're referring to. The other question is, can degree in general project management lead to someone pursuing construction management in the long run? Yes. I come from an engineering background. I started my work in industrial engineering, manufacturing. I moved on to IT. I moved on to community service, software development, health, defense, education, all because of my project management skills. The only qualification that will take you places, different careers, that will cross boundaries, is project management certification. Absolutely. Now, you will struggle because you don't have that technical construction background, but you can bridge that very easily by starting at some lower level. Difference between junior project manager and assistant project manager. So this is when you need to understand the organization, because this is specifically for the organization. When it comes to junior project manager, so this is a project management role. Junior comes from the size of the project and the size of the responsibilities you take. Assistant project manager, so this is an attachment. You are attached to a project manager and responsible for supporting that project manager. Sometimes we refer to those roles as business analyst, maybe, or a junior business analyst. So not necessarily an assistant, but more of a function within the project with a specific responsibility. But the difference is basically when it comes to the context. Your context as a junior project manager is your project. Your context as an assistant project manager is their project, not your project. And an IT student and mainly focus on ICT business analysis. Beautiful. Would a project manager certificate benefit me in securing my first? Absolutely, yes. Please do. Please don't hesitate. Here's the thing. Project managers don't understand what business analysis is. And we actually struggle because it's not our job. We always rely on someone with business analysis background to do the requirement management, requirement gathering, requirement prioritization, interpretation, etc. And we rely on those skills because we want someone with a business analysis background to do this job. Now, imagine yourself someone with a business analysis background in education who understand what project management is. It's like yin and yang, you and the project manager. It's perfect. So please do. You need, because you're studying business analysis, because you're studying that domain, you need something more of an entry level sort of qualification, which again, it's the CAPM. The CAPM is perfect one. And you are welcome. Pursuing an MBA project management. I'm wondering, how can I strengthen my profile for big consulting companies? When you say profile, you mean your profile in general. Get your CAPM. When it comes to consulting, they love certifications. It's all about certifications, the consulting business. I worked in consultancy for more than 12 years. I have 5 credentials from PMI, 2 masters, 1 PhD, 1 bachelor, 700 million other credential. The more certification you get in consulting, the better your chances are. So if you want to target, first of all, identify your consulting companies, what sort of consulting you want to go for. I'm assuming you want to go for the big companies, for the big consulting firms. The big consulting firms love certifications, and they actually will give you invest in you in certifications if you are successful. Search for graduate programs as well. You are welcome. I am Gianni. I'm hoping I'm not mispronouncing your name. And IT students from Philippines interested in project management. Thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome. Kevin, I would like to know which certificate you recommend. CAPM, I have 5 years experience. Here's the thing. If you have experience in project management for 5 years, go for PMP. Now, the question is, should you include it in your application or should you not? That's a different question. But from a certification perspective, if you have 5 years experience in project management, definitely, absolutely, for sure, no argument about it. Go for your PMP straight away. You can show your PMP certification if you find it valuable for your application, or you can simply put it on the side if not. especially if you have an IT project leader experience. It doesn't matter if the project is small or big. It's about how you approach the job you're applying for. Hi, have years of software implementation, project management experience from overseas, and I still found myself struggling in getting some first job here. Yeah, same advice. Take one step down. It's very hard to find a project manager role in Australia if you come from overseas experience straight away. Even with your qualification, actually, the Australian context will love if you want to step down a little bit, learn from them, and then move forward. It will take you 1 year. No, not much, not more than 1 year. An MBA in project management is different from a master's of project management. Yes, absolutely. The MBA of project management has an acumen aspect to it. So when we talk about business administration, that's a specialty in project management. We see project management as a small domain in that program. But a master in project management is mainly focused on project management. So we start from project management fundamentals. It will rarely talk about anything outside project management. So even I think the only subject in a master of project management that is not related is accounting and finance, and everything else is related to project management somehow. Wow, on time. And that's the end of the questions. I'm hoping that I've answered all of them and I've answered you guys, but please feel free. I think I have 1 more minute before I leave you. So if you have any question, you're more than welcome to reach out at any point to me or to the team and ask about anything. I'm just going to share my screen for 1 more time, Nina. Just bear with me 1 sec.
Sorry, John. Can I ask
Yep.
a question? I'm just
Of course
waiting
you
at
can.
the last moment. So I
course you
really love the part you sharing about the competence lens. So would you mind give some insights on those people who have already have some working experience but not directly related to project management? How can they modify their resume to more align with the future project management related position?
You
Do
don't have to change your resume a lot. All you have to do is to highlight your skills in your cover letter. So
okay.
the whole process of applying for a job using a cover letter and a resume is a session by itself. But very quickly, when you write your cover letter, which is the first document that will be scanned by the employer, make sure you use a language from the job posting itself, same language, same sentences, and make sure you explain your journey. You explain your skills in that cover letter. So write your cover letter in a way that people can straight away see your skills, your journey, and then can move on to your resume and see how your job is being relevant to previous experience relevant. Because remember something, no one moves to the exact position in their career. No one does this. So if I'm working as an estimator, I will move on to something within estimating, but it might be completely different. So it's very normal for you to come from a certain position and move on to another position within the same skill set. The only thing you need to do is to highlight those skill set and make sure that the employer or the person who's scanning that document read relevant language to them and understand that you are on that level. But we can probably organize a session about just cover letter and resume. But did I answer your question, Nina?
Yeah, just one following up concern.
Sure.
So do you think we need to highlight those skills that can show our business acumen? Like, do we need to highlight the risk management, communication, risk management skills? Do we need to highlight them in the cover letter?
Highlight the key skills that are required. So, for example, if your position doesn't match literally the position announced, make sure that you explain this in the cover letter and list the skills that you're using to apply for this job. Because if someone looked at your resume and see you were a project coordinator applying for an estimator, this doesn't automatically connect. But when they read your skills, read your cover letter, and understand more about your contacts, then you are in a better place, or a better position.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Now, thanks so much for the questions and the feedback, everyone. Really appreciate it. Time flies. It's almost 7:30 in Adelaide. If you can please take a minute for me, just complete the evaluation form. I'll make it bigger. Complete the evaluation form on the right side of the screen for the society. You are welcome, guys. Anisha, thank you. And if you want to sign up for the updates and newsletters and opportunities, volunteering opportunities, please scan the one on the left, which will take you to my forms, and we can stay connected. I'm really thankful for the opportunity to speak to all of you. I really wish you all the best, every single one of you. If I can be of any help at any point, at any time, in any dimension, at any universe, please let me know. Back to you, Nina. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, John. Thank you for this lovely evening. And I will share my screen and for the one last minute.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing. Thank you. Cheers.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thanks for everyone who attended tonight's events. And I will just quickly announce our upcoming events. Regarding the questions, like regarding most of people asking for any entry career suggestions in project management. And for our community, we're having a mock recruitment exercise event as our next event. So if you guys are interested in practicing your resume, you can apply through this QR code or just simply click in our LinkedIn profile, and we have already posted this job application. And I think that is everything for today, and hope you guys enjoy it. And thank you, John, once again.
You're welcome. Thanks everyone for joining us today. Enjoy the rest of your evening and stay in contact. Stay curious, obey your parents or not, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
Thank you, John.
Bye-bye, John.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John.
See ya.
Thank you, John.
You're welcome. Thanks, good people. Nina and the team, I'm here. I'm gonna hang around for a few minutes.
Okay.
Thanks, good people.
Hi, John. I was
Hi.
wondering if you could share these scanners of these newsletter, everything with the team so that I'll post up on
Of
the
course.
page as well, so that
course we will.
other people could also, like, if they
Absolutely.
haven't. Yeah, that would be great.
Did you enjoy the session?
Yeah, I always do.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Isha.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for the questions, everyone. See you around.